Sucker Punch has always been known for making some of PlayStation's most iconic single-player games, from Sly Cooper to Infamous, and now the Ghost franchise. With the launch of Ghost of Yotei, a lot of people were skeptical if it can live up to its predecessor, Ghost of Tsushima, which is personally one of my favorite games of all time. At the time of recording this video, I have completed Yotei's main story and discovered most of the secrets that this game has to offer. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Ghost of Yotei and cover everything from the story, gameplay, performance, and exploration so you can decide if you want to pick this game up for yourself. Now, because the game is so new, I don't want to spoil anything major regarding plot twists or the end of the game's story, but I am going to give an overview of the plot and talk about the overall quality of the story as a whole. This game's story takes place 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima and is completely separate from the first game. This story's main character is Atsu, and her family was brutally murdered by the Yotei 6 when she was just a child. The Yotei 6 is an outlaw gang that wants to control Ezo and is fighting against the current samurai clans in power. After killing her family, their leader, Lord Saito, pinned her to a burning tree and left her to die. But somehow she freed herself, and for the next 16 years, she has been completely alone. During these years, she learned how to survive and become somewhat of a Ronin bounty hunter, and the thought of revenge driving her every move. The game starts with her returning to Ezo and writing down the names of the Yotei 6, the Snake, the Oni, Kitsune, Spider, Dragon, and Lord Saito. You will wear this list around your waist throughout the entire game and cross off their names with their own blood as you defeat them. You start the game by tracking down and fighting the Snake. After you defeat him, the locals give you the name Onryo, which means vengeful spirit that brings death. And throughout the game, you will hunt the rest of the Yotei 6 under this name and eventually become the Ghost of Yotei. Everything that I just talked about is what you would experience within the first 30 minutes of this game, and it took me roughly 40 hours to complete the game's main story. So there's a lot of story left for you to experience and secrets for you to discover. Now that I've established the plot, I want to talk a little bit more about the actual quality of the story and my thoughts on it as a whole. I was skeptical going into this game because it is yet another revenge story, and I feel like that we have just had so many revenge stories in the past few years, especially from PlayStation. It is starting to feel repetitive. Assassin's Creed Shadows also released back in March, and these games have very similar plots and gameplay. Almost to the points where I feel like Ubisoft and Sucker Punch were trading notes to each other when they were trying to make these games. Both games feature a female protagonist in 1600 Japan, and a group of villains kill their parents in front of them, and the rest of the game revolves around them getting revenge. I'm happy to say that this game does a way better job at delivering a revenge story better than something like Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I don't like this game's story as much as Ghost of Tsushima. I think that Jin Sakai as a main character is more interesting, and I actually found that I cared more about the villains and some of the side characters of Yotei throughout playing the game. No spoilers, but the Kitsune arc of this game is when I really thought, okay, I am now interested in this story, let's see where it goes. But by no means is this game a bad story. At the end of the day, it has the same DNA and core foundations that made Ghost of Tsushima so great. If you like Tsushima, you'll like Yotei. And if Yotei is your first game, I highly recommend that you go back and you play Tsushima. If you like one, you're probably going to like the other. The biggest difference in storytelling between these games is the fact that this story is not a linear experience. After killing the Snake, the game opens up and allows you to pick which member of the Yotei 6 that you want to hunt down with some restrictions, whereas Tsushima, you would be able to just follow a linear story path in order to progress to new regions of the map. Yotei's new system is great for allowing players to have more freedom to progress their story, but I feel like the pacing of the story suffers because of it. I feel like I experienced a major plot point in the story a little too early, and it didn't have the same impact on me that I think it could have had if the story was more linear. To provide an example, I'm going to give a major spoiler, so just skip to the timestamp on screen if you don't want to hear it. I chose to go after the Oni next, and pretty early on in its quest line, I met a samurai that helps me enter the new region of the map and also helps me hunt the Oni. And you find out that that samurai is actually your long-lost brother, and he didn't die after all. From the start of the game to getting to this point, it took me about 2.5 to 3 hours to experience this major plot twist that made me feel like I should have felt something, but I didn't feel anything. But if this story was a little bit more linear and I experienced this maybe 7 or 8 hours into my game, maybe this would have hit different for me. But overall, the quality of the story is good. When I completed this game, I felt fulfilled and the ending was satisfying, which is something that can't be said for a lot of the revenge stories that we've had in the past few years. Even though I found Tsushima's story more enjoyable, the gameplay, exploration, and performance of this game helps me forget any potential flaw in this story. Like I mentioned before, this game has the same DNA as Tsushima, so the combat feels very similar with a few changes and addition. Tsushima's combat system revolves around the stance mechanic where you would have to change your katana stance in order to be more effective against the enemies that you were facing. While Tsushima focuses on one weapon used in many different ways, Yotei changes the mechanic to focus on using different weapons throughout your entire game. You will unlock multiple melee, ranged, and throwable weapons in order to better counter different enemy types. And again, this is very similar to the systems that we saw in Assassin's Creed Shadows earlier this year. Stealth is also a big part of this game like it was in Tsushima. I feel like the stealth in this game is often rewarding and the best approach, especially in higher difficulties. I don't think that they really changed anything major when it comes to stealth, but one of the most satisfying things that they added to this game was the ability to pick up and throw an enemy's weapon. You can use this as a stealth tactic to be able to kill someone from a distance, or you can use it in the middle of combat to quickly take out one of the enemies. This is one of the most badass additions to Ghost of Yotei, and this mechanic felt just as satisfying every time I did it. The last thing I want to cover about the combat is the special ability. In Ghost of Tsushima, about halfway through the game, Jin unlocks a special ability called Ghost Stance. This stance allows you to one-shot multiple enemies, and it visually changes your screen into a black and white colorway with some red blood effects. This was by far one of the most badass moments about Tsushima, and has stuck with me all these years. However, in Yotei, they gave you a special ability called Onryo's Howl. This basically scares all the surrounding enemies and can be upgraded to summon your wolf companion. This is given to you within about the first hour of the game, and it just doesn't feel as rewarding as the Ghost Stance did. But without spoiling anything, you will feel that same way again at some point in this game. I wanted to take a small section of this video to talk about the performance of this game, and I have to say I am super impressed. For context, I am playing on a regular PS5, and this game still looks and plays incredibly well. I started playing on graphics mode with 30 FPS, and then went to the performance mode for more of a 1440p 60 frames per second. I couldn't really tell a difference besides the performance boost with my higher FPS, and I would recommend anyone playing on a regular PS5 play on performance mode. Also, I just wanted to quickly add what I found to be one of the most impressive things about this game, which is the time that it takes for the game to load. From clicking start on the home screen to actually playing the game, it only takes around 10 to 15 seconds for you to actually load into the game. So props to Sucker Punch, because this is pretty damn impressive. The exploration of this game is incredible, and it's just as beautiful as the first one. Every region has a different seasonal weather, making it feel like every area is unique and different from each other. Most of the traversal and discoveries that you'll make will be kind of the same as Ghost of Tsushima's, but with a few added twists. They added a new map system that allows you to purchase maps from the cartographer and place them over your own to create a more immersive experience. These maps will showcase the locations of hidden shrines, bamboo strikes, hot springs, and puzzles that can be completed to upgrade your character. You can also have random conversations with NPCs, and they'll mark points of interest on your map. This kind of creates a more immersive experience and makes you feel like you're a part of the world, and that the world is a little bit more dense. However, my biggest complaint about the game is how you uncover the Fog of War. Throughout the game, you will only be able to uncover the Fog of War by traveling on horseback all over the map. While I don't mind this at the beginning of the game, there isn't a way to fully uncover the Fog of War and showcase all the available content for you in a region. In Ghost of Tsushima, if you completed all of the enemy camps in a region, the Fog of War would completely lift and the region would showcase all of the remaining collectibles that you needed. This system was not carried over to Ghost of Yotei, and this is by far my biggest complaint of the game. After beating the main story and clearing all the enemy camps, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to reveal the rest of the content available to you. Assassin's Creed had this same approach, but at least in Yotei, they didn't try to shove a $10 map pack down my throat to reveal the Fog of War for me. And the reason that I find this to be such a big deal for me personally is because maps cost a decent amount of money in the game, and if you've already spent your money upgrading weapons or armor, you will have to resort to YouTube videos to finish collecting the rest of the secondary content that this game has to offer. This is one of the only true downgrades of Yotei, in my opinion. Overall, I think that Ghost of Yotei is a good game, and I would give it around an 8 out of 10. The revenge story has been used so much in the industry that it has become repetitive, but Yotei actually made me feel satisfied by the end of the game. The gameplay was enhanced and changed in meaningful ways, and the exploration of the game was changed to make the game feel more immersive, even if some of those aspects are frustrating. If you enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima as much as I did, then I don't think you'll be disappointed with this game. And if you haven't played either of these games, I would highly recommend that you try out Tsushima first, because it is a cheaper option and just as good as Yotei, maybe even a little better. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more gaming related content. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about Ghost of Yotei and if you agree with any of the points that I made in this video. Thank you all for coming and watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace! Peace!